Welcome to Raiders on the Record, the podcast featuring Hastings High School athletics. I'm Athletic Director Trent Hansen. My colleague Tim Hanneberg and I work together to bring you the stories of Raider sports. We are thrilled to share conversations with the athletes, coaches, and alumni that represent Raider Nation. Check back weekly and be sure to share this podcast with your friends in the Raiders Network.
E.C. Atkins is a junior at Hastings High School and will be a 2024 Raider graduate. During her time at Hastings High School, she has competed in cross country, Nordic skiing, and track and field. In cross country, she is currently a 4-time letter winner. In Nordic skiing, she is currently a 3-time letter winner. E.C. is a multiple all-conference recipient and will be a 3-time captain by her graduation. Finally, in track and field, she's a 2-time letter winner, losing a season due to COVID. She's a 2-time all-conference honorable mention in the 400 and 800. Since EC is only a junior and entering the winter season, her varsity letters and accomplishments will only increase. Throughout the interview, EC brings a great energy and insight to the world of high school athletics. All right, here we are with E.C. Atkins. E.C., we always start at the beginning of our guests' lives, so we'd love to hear about your background growing up, your mom, your dad, any brothers or sisters. Were you guys always originally from Hastings, or did you move to Hastings eventually? Were your parents from Hastings? All that good stuff. So once again, let's hear about your life growing up.
So I have a mom, a dad, a wonderful stepmom. I have a full sister, like full blood, named Ellie. 2 half siblings, Aaron and Amanda, and then 2 step siblings, Sam and Olin. I've always lived in Hastings. I live in Spring Valley, Wisconsin with my dad. My dad grew up in Anoka, Minnesota, and my mom grew up in St. Peter.
Perfect. Next thing we always like hearing about too is the schools that our guests attended. And then if you would like to give any shout outs, or if you could think about a teacher that had a really big impact on you at each school. So let's hear about the schools you attended here in Hastings. And once again, if you could think of any names of those teachers that you really remember that had a big impact on your life, let's hear their names.
So I went to McCullough for elementary school, and the most impactful teacher that I had was Annette Hansen, because we knew her from like church and stuff before, but she just always was one of my favorite teachers. I went to Hastings Middle School. I really don't remember many of my teachers.
This is the second person that I think middle school just is a complete blank for everybody.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank. I had
So
my
that's
mom.
okay.
That counts.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll count it for right now. No worries. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then here at Hastings High School, once again, any teachers here at the high school that had a big impact on your life? D-Wall, huh?
D-Wall, yeah.
I'm sure we'll get to D-Wall here eventually.
Oh, yes.
His name has popped up about 400 times so far throughout these interviews. If you would like to give a good D-Wall story right now to start us off, and then obviously we'll get to him probably later in the interview. Let's hear maybe your favorite D-Wall story.
All right, my favorite D-Wall story is one day he came home from his, like, I don't know where he was, but he was like looking for his cats or something. And then he looked over and one of his cats was getting taken by an eagle. And it's just a D-Wall story. There's nothing really else you can say. It's the way that he says it. He tells them way better than anybody else can.
For sure. Well, that's great. Next thing we always like hearing about is the sports you played growing up. I always tell our guests I like stopping maybe around 7th or 8th grade. It seems like sports get a little more serious for some people and they get brought up to a higher level. So, EC, let's hear about the sports you played growing up.
So when I was little, I played just about every sport. My mom and dad really encouraged sports, and it was just something that my sister and I loved doing. I played soccer for about 12, 13 years until I got into running like more competitively. I played baseball, basketball, hockey, and then track, cross country, and Nordic.
Perfect. Next thing then, starting in 7th grade, it just kind of makes sense. Let's start right there. And let's walk through each season in each sport. So we'll start off 7th grade fall, 7th grade winter, 7th grade spring, and let's just go all the way to where we are right here, EC.
Oh boy. All right. So seventh grade fall was my first year of cross country. And I remember just thinking like I'm never gonna continue doing this. Like running a mile, that's hard. No, thank you. Just wasn't really for me. And then I just kind of fell in love with it. And then that winter, because my dad ran track cross country and did Nordic when he was in high school, and he told me to just try it. And the first day that I was on skis, I was just like amazed and I fell in love right away. It was just the best thing ever. And that really just kind of brought out my little Nordic side and I just
Mhm.
love it. And then I've been doing track since like fifth grade, but never really good. It was just kind of, I went out and just kind of ran. I never really did well. And then seventh grade, I actually tried training and that actually makes a difference. So that's kind of
Who would
how,
have known? Who
and
would have
then
known?
yeah, I know, who would have known? And then I got pulled up to the high school team my seventh grade year. I was like 13 when I got brought up. So I was just kind of like lost. Everybody else is so much bigger than I was. And it was just kind of scary, but like it was amazing. And then eighth grade, I don't really remember it.
I'll
I was,
interrupt for 1 second, EC. I'm sorry about this. I forgot to tell you. Let's hear about any other accomplishments with each season too. So you already kind of named the varsity letter there in eighth grade.
oh,
Um,
okay.
if there's any captains or if you ever qualify for state or any other accomplishments with the team or individual, let's hear about those as well with each sport too.
Okay. I know my seventh grade year for track, I got all conference honorable mention in the 400. So that was pretty cool. I think that was about it for that year. Eighth grade was my first year in high school cross country. Didn't really do the best, but just kind of went with it. And then eighth grade Nordic year, that winter, I got my first all conference, and that was a really big moment for me. Um, Track that year. Oh, that was the year of COVID, so it didn't really happen. So I didn't get an eighth grade track season. And then freshman year, again, nothing with cross country. It's never really been my strong sport. I love it. I love running. Um, Ninth grade again, got all conference again in Nordic. Um, I got named captain for the next year of Nordic, so that was a big moment for me. And then ninth grade track season, I got honorable mention for the 800, I believe. I think so. I have no idea. I That seems like forever ago. Um, and then 10th grade, fall for track or for cross country. Again, nothing special. It's cross country is not my strong suit. I kind of just run and try not to die. Um, and then Nordic, I moved up a couple places, so I was still all conference. I think I got sixth last year. And then for track, I don't really remember. I know I got first in a couple 800 races, but I never got all conference. I think I might have gotten honorable mention again, but I'm not quite sure. And then now cross country is running again. So yeah.
Perfect. Nordicus sounds like it's your big sport here.
Yes.
As you just said, we're kind of wrapping up the cross country season. If you want to maybe say what you're looking forward to with the end of cross country, and then let's preview the Nordic, maybe any goals, aspirations with Nordic coming up here.
So for I'm looking forward to cross country ending. It's not really like I said, it's not my strong suit. I'm really excited to get into the Nordic season because that's like my main sport. And I can't wait for snow. I'm so excited. My goals for Nordic this year are to get top 3 in conference and it's going to be kind of sad because a lot of our seniors graduated, so it's going to be a little difficult, but I think it'll be a little bit better for me to try and get motivated. And one of my really good friends is on another team, and so I like to, try and chase her down. So we'll see how that goes.
Perfect. One of the things that Mr. Hansen, our athletic director, likes to ask us as coaches is why do we coach? So in this podcast, we like to turn it around on athletes like yourself, EC, and ask you guys why you play. So what is one of the biggest reasons you're a three-sport athlete? What is one of the biggest reasons why you play so many sports and play sports?
So one of the reasons why I play is I like showing others that like you can do it, because for me, I really have a hard time like believing in myself, but like my parents and my friends are great. I just like saying like, hey, like stop it. You can do it if you like spend time and do hard work to get to there. And it's just kind of nice because not a lot of people in my grade specifically too, they just don't really do any sports, and because they're like, oh, it's too much work or whatever. But I maintain playing 3 sports a year, doing like club things, doing homework, all that kind of stuff, and it's nice to show others that you can do it.
For sure. Next two questions, I always kind of pair them up together. They are very similar, but if you could come up with something different for each one, that'd be great. So the first one is your best or your most rewarding experience so far playing high school sports, and the second one is your favorite moment. So once again, your best or your most rewarding experience, and the second one, your favorite moment. What do you think that would be for you, EC?
So one of the best like rewarding things about participating is just like finishing a race or like finishing like a game and just knowing that you accomplished it, and you're just like you just have that like feeling like, oh my gosh, I just did that. That's like the best feeling in the world, and I think anybody else would say that too. It's just you just feel like this big like gush of happiness, like, oh my gosh, like I did it. And then one of my favorite moments as a high school athlete was the first time I got all conference in Nordic. So I had like the flu or something that day, and I threw up about 5 or 6 times that morning. And then my mom was like, are you gonna go? And I was like, obviously, like, get in the
Mhm.
car, Mickey, we gotta go. And so like we showed up, and my goal, I wanted to beat this one girl who had a really annoying like bun in her hair, and it was just making me so mad. And I was like, oh wait, she's like the 10th person. So I knew if I passed her, like I would be all conference. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. So it was my last race in the pursuit race. And there's this one part, it's the hardest part of the course that we do. And I was just like, I had a sunburst of energy, and I was like, all right, we're doing it. And I just went for it. And it was just, I had worked so hard for it that whole season. And just the feeling afterwards of like my parents being all happy, my teammates were like cheering me on. It was just like the best feeling ever.
I've never heard of someone wanting to beat someone because of a bun in their hair. So
It was bad.
that's a brand new one for me, EC, but that's a good one. I like it. Usually it's something else, like you kind of look up to them, or maybe they're a great competitor, or like they got a good time. But this one was a bun in their hair. That's all it
Yeah,
took for you.
that's all it took.
Wonderful. So are you like encouraging other schools in our conference to put buns in their hair now, or like is it
I
just a
mean, I
one-time
think
thing,
we
you
should
think?
start, tell them somebody who's faster than me, hey, you look good with a bun.
Yeah. Wonderful. Another thing Mr. Hansen always likes to ask us coaches is how we define success. So once again, turning it around on you, EC, how would you define success?
So success to me means knowing that me or my team has done the best that we could do. And like I could care less if we win or lose, just as long as we know that we tried our hardest. That's all that really matters.
For sure. The next one, we already mentioned his names. D-Wall, probably going to pop up for this one, but if you could dig deep and you want to come up with a couple different people, that'd be okay. So we always like to hear about a coach that had a really big impact on our guests' lives. We kind of say it's the best coach, but sometimes that's hard to describe, and a best coach can mean multiple different things. So Who do you think that coach is in your life that's had a big impact on you?
So my favorite, or not like favorite, but like my best coach has been D Wall and Sand Camp. They're kind of just intertwined together when I think of them. D Wall and Sand Camp have been the best coaches I've ever had. D Wall and Sand Camp have both coached me from 7th to 10th grade because now they're done coaching, which is very unfortunate. Um, and I picked these two because they've taught me more than I could ever imagine. They both taught me how to be a better person, like over being a better athlete. And they're both amazing. And I'm so lucky to have been coached by them for their final seasons.
Perfect. Kind of along the same lines is the best teammate. So I've said this many different times, but I feel like we could describe this best teammate in multiple different ways. This could be you were a young girl getting brought up in middle school track, right? So this could be an older athlete that we look up to, kind of model some behaviors, and we try to look up to them and model those same behaviors. This could be someone that we are pretty close with in age that we always go back and forth, we train with, and they always kind of push us to our best ability. This could also be someone that we use as a shoulder to cry on. They're always there for us, always able to listen to us and maybe cheer us on. So who do you think that best teammate is in your life? You're a three-sport athlete, so you got a lot of sports to choose from. Sometimes with your sports, it's kind of intermingling between the three sports. So maybe a lot of the same people, but who would that be in your life, EC?
So my like best favorite ever teammate was Linnea Urban. So like when I first started sports, I was in 7th grade and I was pretty little compared to everybody else. They were like these big scary sophomores. To me, that was just like terrifying.
Mhm.
And like I tried following Linnea around and like trying to keep up, and I wasn't very fast because I had never been on skis before, like the first time I met her. And so I always just tried to ski with her, run with her, and she always helped me if even if I had like a simple question about homework, she would answer her phone and she would talk to me about it. And like, or if I was in a bad mood, she would just be like, "Hey, are you okay?" And she always encouraged me. And she was just the best teammate ever. And I really, really miss her.
Awesome. Another thing we like to hear about is a particular opponent or event that we always look forward to that kind of brings the best out in us. I think it's really easy for the team sports to maybe pick a certain team that they always like playing against. It seems like our alumni always pick Park. Recently, football and hockey, St. Thomas is the big one. So those are really easy to pick out a particular opponent. For someone like you in individual sports, it might not be an opponent, it could be an event. So, is there a particular opponent or event that you always look forward to every single year? And in your sports, you got three different sports. You could pick one in each sport if you really want to.
So in all of my sports, we have the same conference. So Montemita is a big one. They are good at everything, which is really unfair, but just gotta work for it a little bit harder. One of my friends that I train with in the summer, I met her a couple years ago and we just like clicked instantly. She's on the Montemita team and she's a year older than me. And so every race that, because she's in track, cross country, and Nordic with me, so every race, try and just keep my eye on her and just kind of, she always just makes me happy. And like we always do goofy things together at races. And yeah,
So Monamina is one. Does she wear a bow in her hair or no? Or a bun in her hair?
she does not wear a bun, but she does
Okay.
wear a bow.
Okay. She does have bows in there. All right. Are you
I
encouraging her to put a bun in her hair or not?
should.
Wonderful. Easy. Last two questions for you to wrap this up. We always like getting advice from our guests here. So the first thing that we look for is advice to our parents and coaches. So you're a three-sport athlete. You're in your junior year right now. If you could talk to other parents and coaches out there and give them a couple pieces of advice, what do you think it would be and why?
So two pieces of advice that I would say would let your kid like tell you what you want them or what they would like to do, because there's a lot of kids in sports that are just in it because their parents want them to be in it, and it doesn't make for a good team or like them to be happy. So just kind of like let your kid choose what they want to be in. It's like when I was younger, I was put in the same things as my sister, and like we're complete opposites. So like we're not really gonna have the same opinions on things. So just kind of like listen to your kid. And then if your kid needs help, just help them. Being a student athlete is really tough, balancing homework, sports, jobs, and social life, it's mentally and like physically exhausting. So just kind of help them out with whatever they need.
For sure. Now, same kind of question now for student athletes. So you were a seventh grader again, brought up onto the varsity team and track. Now think about back then, if you could talk to those young kids who are getting on the verge of JV varsity kind of action, if you could give them a couple pieces of advice, what do you think would be and why?
My first one is just have fun because you want to do your best in anything you do, which is understandable because I still do it. I'm very competitive and it's usually not the greatest, but just try and be the best you can be, but also have fun with it because, like, you're still in high school or middle school. You just gotta still live life like you're having fun, I guess. I don't know. It's just always have a smile on your face. And then if you're, this is a big one for some people. If you're doing a sport just because it looks good for colleges, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. Like, I fell in love with all of the sports that I'm in right now because I just was like, hey, you know what? Let's try it. I don't really care. Like, I was just kind of, yeah, whatever. And it's just, yeah, it looks good on applications or whatever, but it's so much more than that.
For sure. EC, that's all the questions I got for you. If there's anything else you want to add in, anything I forgot to ask you, anything to get off your chest, anything, any other shout outs you want to give, the time is yours and you can go for it.
Shout out to Hannenberg. Thanks for doing this.
Well, this is no worries at all. Any other shout outs or anything else here?
I don't think so.
Awesome. Thanks, EC.
Thank you.